Coming to you live from the White Picket Studios in Houston, Texas, this is the Realty Ruckus. If you are in any way, shape, or form involved in the real estate industry, this is the show for you. And now, your host, Alan Hernandez.
Good morning, Houston real estate agents, lenders, investors, whoever is out there listening to us. Thank you again for joining us on today's show. We have a great show planned out today. We have some interesting topics to talk about, but I just want to share a little bit about what happened to me yesterday. So as you guys know, I got nominated to be the event coordinator for NAREP, National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. It's a really long name, so it's just easier when you just say NAREP, right? And we had one of the best events last night over at Gallery Furniture. I got to tell you, yeah, actually, you were there.
Event. I was.
I gained a new appreciation for my team last night, because when I took on the events coordinating chair, I didn't realize how much work goes into putting on an event. I'm not kidding. I mean, these guys put on our events all the time. So you know, we do at least one big event a month, and next year it's August. We're already working on, actually even after this meeting, we're already working on next year's events.
Right.
You know. And last night, I decided, for this event, because I was the event coordinating chair, I was like, you know what, I can do this. You know, I have Brandon, my assistant, and he has he has a VA, and I was like, I can do all this. You know, and I had a spreadsheet going, I had it all set up. I'm a detailed
spreadsheet. That's a sign of a guy who's got it all together.
I got it all together. I thought I had it all together, man. I could not believe how much work that was. I was telling Jabron, I feel like I went out and like binge drink last night and just like got, you know, totally hammered and because like today I was so slow, and I woke up and I was like, my body hurt, and it was like, man, it actually takes a lot of effort to bring 250 plus people to one room. And the fact that it got done, and it wasn't on me. I can't take full responsibility for all that. I mean, the people that are in this board are man, they're phenomenal people. They are phenomenal people. Last night we got a chance to go out after the event. First of all, the event was a huge success. I don't know about you guys, but I had to like walk away at one point, because I mean, some of the stuff that the panelists were saying like had me teared up, man. Like,
it was hitting close to home, a lot of the things that they were saying.
You know, because we all go through that stuff when we're starting our businesses. You know, when we're getting into starting any kind of business. I don't care if you sell real estate or widgets. You go through those processes. You go through those learning steps. You make those mistakes. You think you can do it all. You think you're a perfectionist like me, then you don't want anybody else to help you because you think you got it. You know, kind of like what happened to me with the event, and then you guys kicked in. You guys kicked in like the day before. Bibi, you came up to me and you're like, I'm worried for you, man. You don't look good. Show me what's happening with this event.
That's seriously what happened.
And you guys can't see our board, but he brought me into our office, and we literally wrote down everything that we needed for the event, and then, you know, it was my team that said, okay, these are the things that are missing. Let's make phone calls. Let's make sure that everything gets ironed out. And even though we had some, you know, small little hiccups, overall, in my opinion, the event was awesome, man.
Oh yeah, and the panelists were fantastic. I really appreciated how candid the panelists were, because normally when you get people that are successful in front of a room, they're not always open to telling you their horror stories along the way.
Yeah.
And I thought it was awesome. You look at a guy like Clifton Saunders, who you think he's got it all together, and then to hear him and his wife talking about how they were flipping over couches at one point to find like loose change to pay the bills, it makes you realize that, like, as an entrepreneur, everyone goes through those struggles.
We all go through those struggles.
Yeah.
And the people that are out there saying that they don't, or that they never have, in my opinion, they're probably lying. You know what I mean? They you know, you can sit there and make these kind of things up, but at the end of the day, we know what a real entrepreneur is, and it's the guy that leaves a 40-hour job to go work 80 hours.
Yeah, right. I forgot who said that last night.
And it's so true. I mean, I catch myself doing that all the time, and it's not something that I want to brag about. I would love to work, 3 or 4 hours a week, like some of the panelists were. And right now, that's the focus. It's to make sure that we're continuously building, continuously going and striving forward, and not making the mistakes along the way. Some of the mistakes are so simple, though. Did you catch some of those?
Oh, I know. And some of the things that they were saying that there were mistakes that they made, I was like, oh, done that one too.
I know, right?
Let me check
Cross
that one off my
the
list.
Right. Yeah. You know what's funny is I actually feel good about that. When I hear someone say, hey, I made this mistake, this, that, and the other, and I say, oh, yeah, I've done it too. I know that at least I've gone through that process already, and I'm not, getting ready to go through it just in the future. So, man, it was really a good thing. I was excited to see some faces out there. Ashley, your team was there, and they were there in force. And man, we had over 250 people show up to this thing. And by the way, this thing was out in Timbuktu.
Yes, it was.
Right? Out in Timbuktu.
I'm surprised you did that event.
You guys know my rule on Timbuktu, right?
Hey, it was the very first event at Gallery of Furniture, too.
Yeah, it was. So. Their first big successful event.
Oh, nice.
So. Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to talk about some of the other mistakes some homeowners, or not homeowners, business owners have made, and we're going to bring up something that kind of hits home here in just a minute. Make sure you stay tuned. Hey realtors, I have a challenge for you. Walk into your broker's office and ask him to show you how to do a net listing, a wholesale investment transaction, or a subject to. I'm Alan Hernandez, broker of White Picket Realty, and my team and I have been doing these type of transactions for years. We can show you how to do the same and turn small deals into big checks. If you're interested in learning more, please contact join at teamwpr.com. JOIN at teamwpr.com.
Hey Houston investors, do you have a couple deals under your belt, but now you're looking to scale in a more structured way? If so, then the House Flipping Network provides guidance to those looking to grow their real estate business. It's also a great way to mastermind with our experts and groups of like-minded investors just like yourself. If you're interested in more information, reach out to me, David at houseflippingnetwork.com. That's David at houseflippingnetwork.com.
The Realty Ruckus is going to be broadcasting live August 9th at White Picket Realty's Happy Hour. This is an event for you guys to RSVP for and really get ready to ramp up your business. David, can you tell us a little bit more about it?
That's right, Alan. Come grab a cold one and beat the heat with Team WPR. We'll have over 200 plus real estate industry professionals attending. That's private money lenders, wholesalers, realtors, you name it. We'll be at the St. Arnold Brewery on August 9th from 6 to 9 p.m. You can RSVP at whitepickethappyhour.eventbrite.com. Again, that RSVP link is whitepickethappyhour.eventbrite.com. Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service at an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
And we are back on the Realty Ruckus. David, can you tell us how the weather's going to be today and for our weekend?
Yeah, we are expecting a little bit of rain, percentages in the 40%. So we might get some. Other than that, it's going to be nice and muggy out there. So enjoy that, guys.
Yes.
Is it going to be hot or is it going to be cooling down?
No, it's not going to be cooling down. We're still in the high 90s.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah, we had that one day with a breeze, and that's about all the respite we got.
Oh man, here we go. But you know what? At least we're gonna get a little bit of rain, and hopefully we can maybe go out and enjoy some decent weather throughout the weekend. Maybe get some time to go out to the park and stuff.
Anything's better than 100 degree. I'll tell you that.
I agree with you on that one completely. So we were talking about some of the mistakes that businesses make and building teams and whatnot, which was what the NARP event was like. But I thought it was interesting. This morning I pulled up an article that kind of hit close to home. A few months ago, actually about a year ago?
This was several years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, this was when we were first starting our business, and
yeah.
I'm sure almost every business owner.
You're right.
Has experienced
this. Was when we first started our business and we created our first website.
Yeah.
And and every person out there does the same thing. So you create your first website, and you don't have images of like your team or you doing anything. You don't have
it might just be you. You can't just put you on every single picture, you know?
you take selfies. This is me writing a contract.
Yeah, exactly.
So you don't have to do that. You just go out there and you get, stock images, right? And so all of a sudden, we get this letter in the mail, and it says, hey, that image that you used on your website is ours, and it's from a company called Getty Images.
Right.
Everybody knows that.
So you're familiar with
everybody
it.
knows these people, And so they send you a letter, and they say, hey, you owe us a couple $1,000s. It was like $2,000 for using our image, and you have to take it off.
Right.
And then if you want to use it, then it's going to cost you another couple $1,000s. So we're like, man, like $5,000 or so just
for one picture,
just
and
to use one.
And it's always
picture.
the silliest pictures, because I remember the one they got us over was called Clouds in Sky.
Yeah.
And it was literally
nice.
just a picture of like some clouds in the sky.
Clouds. Impossible to know whose picture it was, you know? And so anyway, of course we took it off, and we got over that. But then in this article, if you pull it up, they end up sending the same letter, the same demand letter, to the actual original photographer of the person that originally took the picture.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a photographer out there. She's pretty famous photog, and she takes a lot of pictures of historical images, and then she went back and donated them to the Library of Congress.
Okay.
So free use. And she had no idea Getty was even sending people demand letters for using those pictures, except that Getty made one major mistake. They in their trolling, they actually sent her a letter saying, hey, by the way, you're not allowed to use those, and you owe us several $1,000s for all the different images that you've been using. And that's when she became aware, and she was like, wait a minute, you guys are charging people to use my images. I never gave you permission to do that. So she just filed a lawsuit against Getty.
Yeah.
Thank God, finally one for the little guy, right?
Yeah,
Right.
no joke, man.
Yeah.
$1 billion lawsuit.
$1 billion.
That's the damages that she's demanding from Getty Images. $1 billion.
And I hope she gets every single dollar.
Oh, I hope so too, man. Getty is such a troll. They really are out there hurting small businesses because they're scraping every single website.
Yep.
Right.
And the people who are using those stock images, let's just be honest, they're the people that are a little bit more naive. They're just getting started in their business. They're building that first website. And you get a letter in the mail, all of a sudden it says you owe $2,000 or $3,000. Man, as a brand new entrepreneur, that could cripple your entire business.
And you can't fight them.
And you can't fight them.
No, it's impossible, nearly.
Because just to go to court with them, you're spending 10 to 15 grand minimum, maybe up to 30 grand, and over a picture, you're not going to do it as an entrepreneur. So,
no way.
So you end up. It's legal extortion. They over a picture they can literally take $2,000 to $3,000 from you, and all you did was try to create your first website.
Right.
And so I am so thrilled that this lady is suing them. I'm like, yeah, man, what's the irony behind that? Like, how cool is that?
I love it, man.
These guys have been out there extorting small business owners for years, and now they're going to get the big one coming out.
The hammer.
That $1 big billion lawsuit. That'll scare your pants off right there.
Hey, by the way, her name is Carol Highsmith, just so we can give her a little bit of credit.
High five, Carol.
Go, Carol,
Give us
man.
some of that money when you collect it.
Standing
'Cause
up for the little
we
guy.
sent out our share of monies to those jerks. Anyway, we just want to make sure that you guys out there, when you're creating your businesses, when you're getting your website started, don't be as naive as we were and just go out there and get Getty Images for one.
Well, it's so easy to Google, and you go on Google and you find a picture you like. There's nothing that says, oh, this is a copyrighted or trademarked image.
Yeah.
And all it takes is you to put it up there for 1 second for their little troll programs that they have just going through every website looking for their pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And once they find you, man, they start nailing you, and they'll send you letters for years. We didn't finally get done with them until about 2 years later.
Yeah.
And they just kept trolling
going
us, kept coming after us. Yeah.
Yeah. So make sure, guys, don't make that mistake. I know that sounds silly, but I mean it's a $3,000 little novice mistake.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And hope and give Carol, what was her name? Carol
Highsmith.
give Carol a high five.
Yeah,
whenever
and
you see her.
I'm actually going to post up a few free stock image websites on there for any of the small business owners out there that need a few for their website. This is the ones I use
That's
for our
fantastic.
websites.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, and obviously the best way to do it is to take your own stuff. If you know somebody that owns a camera, maybe someone in the family, just have them come take some pictures of you doing what you normally do, and use that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and most web developers will even tell you that stock images aren't very valuable on your website.
Not only on your website, but even on like your postcards. So think about like if you're a realtor or an investor and you're sending out postcards with stock images, you're actually less likely. There are studies that will show that you're less likely to get a call back with the stock images than if you use something that is real, something that they can actually see, something that they can actually know that they're dealing with a real person.
Yeah.
Because that image of the mom and dad and the little dog, sitting up front. I mean, it's so used, man. Everyone sees that on every advertisement. They just know, it's just nobody really put time into it.
Yeah, it's so funny because you're right. I've seen the exact same stock image used on so many different people's marketing. It's always like the one lady like shaking somebody's hand at the front door.
Yes.
Or the key being dropped into the hand.
Keys falling into the hands.
If you use that, please stop yourself right now. It's kind of funny. Speaking of marketing, last night we were talking about business cards. So I handed Ashley one of our old little nerdy business cards.
I loved it.
The one that say, "Hi, I'm Alan."
Oh yeah.
And he was talking about it. He was like, man, this is a really great business card because it's so nerdy, it's cool.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's like,
Hi,
hey,
I'm Alan.
hi. And it's got a big old hi in it. And we were talking about like how there's one attorney handed him a card one time that
glittered.
That was glittery and
silver and gold.
And it was the weight of like the American Express black card. I don't know if you've ever seen one of those, but it's like made of steel. The thing is heavy. And I was thinking, how much would something like that cost? And what do we come up with?
It must have been at least $7 or $8.
And then I asked him if you bought them in bulk.
Right. And I asked him, why in the world did you do that? And of course, his answer was, will you throw that away? I'm like, no, I still have it.
Still have it.
That's a really good point.
I mean,
It's a great point.
You're so right about that because the business cards, and we're about to have to go to break here, but I keep those business cards from people who they have like very, very cool creative cards.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that hang around the longest.
Yeah, absolutely. All that junk from Vistaprint. Sorry. Goes away. Anyway, we're going to keep talking about some really cool stuff. We're going to have some conversation about some of the stuff we learned last night, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we're going to bring that to you here in just a second. Be right back. Hey realtors, I have a challenge for you. Walk into your broker's office and ask him to show you how to do a net listing, a wholesale investment transaction, or a subject to. I'm Alan Hernandez, broker of White Picket Realty, and my team and I have been doing these type of transactions for years. We can show you how to do the same and turn small deals into big checks. If you're interested in learning more, please contact join at teamwpr.com. JOIN at teamwpr.com.
Hey Houston investors, do you have a couple deals under your belt, but now you're looking to scale in a more structured way? If so, then the House Flipping Network provides guidance to those looking to grow their real estate business. It's also a great way to mastermind with our experts and groups of like-minded investors just like yourself. If you're interested in more information, reach out to me, David at houseflippingnetwork.com. That's David at houseflippingnetwork.com.
The Realty Ruckus is going to be broadcasting live August 9th at White Picket Realty's Happy Hour. This is an event for you guys to RSVP for and really get ready to ramp up your business. David, can you tell us a little bit more about it?
That's right, Alan. Come grab a cold one and beat the heat with Team WPR. We'll have over 200 plus real estate industry professionals attending. That's private money lenders, wholesalers, realtors, you name it. We'll be at the St. Arnold Brewery on August 9th from 6 to 9 p.m. You can RSVP at whitepickethappyhour.eventbrite.com. Again, that RSVP link is whitepickethappyhour.eventbrite.com. Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service at an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
And we are back on the Realty Ruckus. And we've been talking about the NAREP event, which was last night. And the main focus of that event was to talk about building teams.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really interesting because Realtor Magazine, which we get like tons of those at the office, they recently put out an article about teams.
Yep.
And they were discussing what are the 7 things that are going to guarantee that your team fails. So last time we talked about building the teams, but we didn't really get into the discussion of a team failing.
We didn't have enough time, man. Last night went by so fast, and we got into some details, and I caught some amazing just little nuggets of information from the panelists. But you're right, we didn't get a chance to say, well, what things should we not do? What things are going to for sure make us fail, and so that we can stay away from those, And that's sometimes those are the best things to talk about. What failures people have had. So what does Realtor Magazine think?
So number one on Realtor Magazine, and I think this one is actually very true from a lot of entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs tend to be very type A. They're go-getters, and they feel like they're the only ones who can get the job done right.
Right.
And so the number one thing that Realtor Magazine says is that you're not willing to let go. So yeah, you're bringing people on, but you're not really giving them the tasks that you need to be taking off of yourself. You're giving them the stuff that, all right, that's easy. I know they can get it done. But the other things, only I can do. I'm the only one who's able to do that. And the panelists last night actually did get into that discussion of avoiding being that person.
Yeah. And that's a problem that I think almost any type A person will have. I mean, I know it's probably one of my biggest problems.
Yeah.
Feeling like I'm the only one that can do it or do it right, or I'm the only one that can do it at that level, or it's stupid. It's stupid to think that way. When you talk about it from an outsider's perspective, when you're looking at yourself from here and saying, "Man, that really sounds dumb," But the truth is, when you're in the heat of things, when you're in like the middle of your workflow, and you're typing away your emails. I don't know if your email box looks like mine, but mine's scary. And I'm sitting here, just frantically trying to get
Is that why you type at it like this?
It's like, I don't know who taught Alan to type, but I think you may need to go back to typing school.
That's 80 words per second. 80 right there.
No mistakes. No typos.
I'm serious, man. Like, you're in the middle of that stuff. You forget, and you're like, man, I'm just going to knock this out. But you're right. You should be letting the people that are on your team do the things that they're supposed to do and not get in the way. You know? And Ashley, you're a great example of that, man. I go to your office and I see like everyone doing the tasks that they need to be doing. How did you overcome that?
Well, basically, I hire everybody who I'm not. So it's I've done a very good job of that. I've always hired people. Well, when I started out the business, I hired people who were like me. But then I realized that I need people who are not like me because I need organized people because I'm not the most organized person in the world. So it's just everybody around me I get is organized.
Yeah.
There's a
Did I just see a dinosaur walk by?
What the hell?
Did a dinosaur just walk by our office?
Yeah, a T-Rex literally just walked past the office.
That's solid.
And they're walking in your office.
Well, now we have dinosaurs walking in.
But that what you just said, actually, Ashley, goes along with what their number 2 is, and that's you misjudge your own skill set.
Yeah, right.
So some people think that they're better at things than they are, and they're not good at saying, well, actually, I suck at that.
Yeah.
I better find somebody better to do that.
I think what Ashley just said is a very important part of being a good business owner, and it's understanding what you do and that there are some people out there that can do some things better for you, right?
Right.
And like I don't know how you did it, man, but I can give you guys an experience because I've probably done it just more recently than you, Ashley. You've been in business a whole lot longer than I have. So the way that I did it, or that I continue to do it, is I take I make a list of things that I do, things that I do, and I move them into separate categories of things that I don't like to do or that I have to recognize I'm not good at. And then once I recognize those things, kind of like you said, hey, I'm not very organized.
Right.
Now I got to find someone to keep me organized. That's what I ended up doing. And really, if you think about it, that's what led me eventually to hiring an assistant.
Yeah.
And if you look at his tasks, if you look at my office and you look at his tasks, one of them is keep Alan organized. Because I'm the same way.
Right.
It's like, man, I'll just go throughout the day and just forget about things, unless someone's there to say, hey, this,
Right.
and this. Even down, and I know this is probably silly to some of you, but it has been a tremendous help for me in my business. Someone to manage my schedule has been amazing for me. Like, I don't know, like when people call and they're like, hey, I need to meet with Alan, it has to go through Brandon, and if Brandon says, sorry, he's busy, that's it. And he knows the rules on how I can meet or can't meet or who I can and can't meet with or whatnot. So he'll automatically just block those emails off. But if you notice, there's 10, 15 emails on just setting up one appointment. What are some of the other things before I keep ranting?
Well, no, it's not only that, but I think it's important. So you find people that do what you don't like to do, but and they put it as number 3 on here is you don't have a long-term plan to retain those people. And from experience, I can tell you that retention is incredibly difficult. It's hard to keep those good people around.
Especially in real estate.
Yeah. So you got to make sure that you have your ideas for how you're going to retain those people, or your team's going to keep falling apart, and you're going to have turnover year over year. You're having to hire 3, 4, 5, 6 new people, and that gets really old really quick.
Turnover for real estate agents is probably the same as it is for your closing agents.
Right.
I imagine. Because what ends up happening is some other schmuck broker down the street will say, hey, I can close your files for $150, and so everyone's always chasing the dollar.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that happens. I'm sure. I mean, I've seen it happen in the title business as well.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Somebody will come up and say, hey, I'll pay you an extra couple grand a month or a year even.
Right.
And now they just took your closer. And so you have to play that game too, I guess.
Absolutely.
Because
everybody, I mean, there's title company in every corner. Just like, there's real estates. I mean, of course, problem with keeping a real estate agent is essentially all they need is a telephone and an email address.
That's true.
And that's the biggest problem because everybody thinks the owner is stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like a teenager. Teenagers think their parents are stupid.
That's true.
So hire a teenager when they know everything. Once they get older, they realize that, hey, maybe they don't know as much.
I wonder if that's how my agents think of me. Man, he's just stupid. I'm going to have to ask.
So the next thing that Realtor magazine brings up, and this one I do believe this one because I've gone to people's offices where I've noticed this. Instead of hiring people for the right job or the right task, they hire people because they like them.
Well, we made that mistake.
Yeah, we made that mistake in the past before too.
Early on in our entrepreneurship career, we made the mistake of just bringing in people because we like them.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. There's a lot of people out there you like. There's a lot of cool people out there, and you can have a crew of cool kids and not be doing any transactions, and that's not cool. That ends up kicking you in the butt.
Oh yeah,
and whatever. But that's all you have.
Yeah,
you know? And no one has fun when you're not making money.
Yeah, and one of the big recommendations, and I can attest to this, or we can attest to this here. I don't know if you do the same thing, Ashley, but everyone here has to take a personality assessment.
Yeah.
And depending on what role that they're going to be falling into, we actually have personality types that we look for. So this is, if you're going to be out there and you're going to be doing, for example, like cold calling, you got to have, you can't be high S.
No.
You got to be a high D. You got to be willing to
high D.
Exactly. You got to be willing to let it roll off your shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
So the disc profile is awesome for that. And for those of you who are
some people don't know what the disc profile is.
I'll go ahead and put up a link for that as well.
Yeah, let's put it up. It's a free personality assessment profile. You'll have to learn a lot about it in terms of what each category means. But I can tell you that once you really understand this profile, not only will it change the way that you talk and relate to people, it changes the way that you hire people and the way that your business grows.
I agree.
And so now, we can't even have someone step into our office in any position, even as an agent, unless we have that personality profile and that personality fits what we're looking for.
Yeah.
And for agents on our end, we want someone to be friendly. Why would you? Man, I tell you, I ran into the worst, most unfriendliest agent in the world yesterday.
Really?
I heard the conversation. It was pretty funny.
It was so bad. It was so horrible speaking to this agent that I mean, just thinking about calling her again, makes me want to cringe.
Was this at the Dynamite party last night?
No.
Okay.
It was yesterday morning before we went to the event. And I have a client who wants to buy a house over in the Maryland area, and he wants me to help him negotiate a better price. It's a house that's listed, and so I just made a phone call. I mean, this lady's been around for a little bit. I just made a phone call and just wanted to talk some shop and just shoot the shit a little bit.
Right.
Just, hey, what's going on? And she's like, don't call me unless you know exactly what you're talking about. This down there. I'm like,
wow,
where does this even come from? And how can you be such a hateful person and be in real estate?
Right.
Like, if you are a real estate agent and you are there to help, you should be friendly to everyone that calls you, because you have no clue who the other person on the line is.
Well, it's interesting because you guys know that I studied psychology, and we did this one study where it was all about how will a human react to you. And so part of the study was we had to go out and act differently and see how they would react. And humans are really big on mirroring. Yeah. So if you go in somewhere and you have a great attitude and you're smiling, or even on the phone, you're likely to get that same great attitude back.
Why do you think people that do nothing but cold call talk about smiling and dialing?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because you're right. The attitude is always reciprocal.
Oh yeah, and what we showed in that study, and I'm sure there's tons of other studies to show the same thing. When you go out and you have that bad attitude and you're in a bad mood and you're angry and you're talking to people and that tone.
Yeah. Right.
It's just a tone that people have when they're annoyed. You're really likely to get that exact same thing back.
Yeah.
And it's not because the other person wants to be rude to you. That's just human behavior. We tend to mirror the people that we're talking to.
Yep.
And so whenever you have somebody who's really agitated, they're the same way back.
Yeah.
Right.
I actually feel really bad for this lady because I looked up her closing ratio. She's doing just barely above average, and I feel like someone who really wanted to help her could get her to to close, instead of 12 or 13 transactions a year, maybe actually close 20 or 30. But who would want to help her and who would want to have her on their team? Like if I had an agent like that on my team, it would be automatic. Hey, sorry, you got to go find another broker, because who wants to deal with someone like that? And so that's the thing, understanding of who you're bringing into your team up front. And when you're in front of someone and you're interviewing and you're saying, hey, how do I know you're the right person for my team? Everyone says they're the right person for your team.
Of course.
Everyone sells you on them being the best in the world at what they're looking to do, right?
I mean, here's what's crazy. Even if they don't want the job, their task at a interview is to show you that they want it.
Yeah.
So they're going to do and say whatever it takes to get the job.
Whatever it takes.
Right.
The interview process, in my opinion, and even like a resume, is about 50% fluff and 50% potentially true.
Well, no, I read something. It was an article, came out on LinkedIn. It was over a year ago, but it was talking about how people these days are just putting whatever they want on their resumes because most employers aren't even fact checking.
No, actually, nobody fact checks and nobody even reads the resume. And I don't know if you guys know this, but when Brandon submitted my resume to get our teaching license, at the bottom he had accidentally put in that part of my tasks.
Oh, I remember this. This is so funny.
Okay, so when he's like, what are your skill sets? And I'm like, dude, I don't know what my skill sets are. But I was like, just make some stuff up. I was like,
Nice.
What do you think I'm good at? And he's like, I don't know, man. I guess you're good at kicking ass and taking names. And so he put that on there.
But we did it. It was a joke, but we never edited before we sent it to Trek.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that resume went to Trek that way, and guess what? Alan got approved as an instructor.
The
You
next
know what?
Next day.
I used to do a lot of hiring when I wasn't banking, and I saw a lot of shitty resumes, and that would have caught my attention. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
Kicking ass, taking names.
Would you have called me though if you would have seen that?
Well, yes, and I remember from seeing all when I came to interview with you guys, I remembered I had seen a whole bunch of bad resumes, so my resume was like very minimal, cut, dry.
Now, we got to go to break, guys, but we'll be back in just a few minutes, and we're going to keep this discussion going, and then we're going to talk a little bit about discrimination in housing.
Yeah, we got
which will
some
be
interesting
very
legal stuff to
interesting
talk
for
about
everyone.
here shortly.
Hey realtors, I have a challenge for you. Walk into your broker's office and ask him to show you how to do a net listing, a wholesale investment transaction, or a subject to. I'm Alan Hernandez, broker of White Picket Realty, and my team and I have been doing these type of transactions for years. We can show you how to do the same and turn small deals into big checks. If you're interested in learning more, please contact join at teamwpr.com. JOIN at teamwpr.com.
Hey Houston investors, do you have a couple deals under your belt, but now you're looking to scale in a more structured way? If so, then the House Flipping Network provides guidance to those looking to grow their real estate business. It's also a great way to mastermind with our experts and groups of like-minded investors just like yourself. If you're interested in more information, reach out to me, David at houseflippingnetwork.com. That's David at houseflippingnetwork.com.
The Realty Ruckus is going to be broadcasting live August 9th at White Picket Realty's Happy Hour. This is an event for you guys to RSVP for and really get ready to ramp up your business. David, can you tell us a little bit more about it?
That's right, Alan. Come grab a cold one and beat the heat with Team WPR. We'll have over 200 plus real estate industry professionals attending. That's private money lenders, wholesalers, realtors, you name it. We'll be at the St. Arnold Brewery on August 9th from 6 to 9 p.m. You can RSVP at whitepickethappyhour.eventbrite.com. Again, that RSVP link is whitepickethappyhour.eventbrite.com. Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service at an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
And we are back on the Realty Ruckus, and we're having a good conversation about things that you can do that are going to guarantee that your team fails. So I want to finish up that conversation before we jump into the discrimination topic.
Yeah. So we just told everyone about how making sure that you have a personality profile and knowing what kind of personalities fit into the right positions is so key to growing your business successfully. And that's one of the biggest changes we've made in our business that has really, really helped us, including bringing in the right agents and knowing what kind of personality an agent should have, and basing that and trusting that to know that when they're out there dealing with clients or other agents on the phone, that they're going to do the right thing, that they're going to say the right thing, they're going to treat people correctly and not be, grumpy, trolls. So
yeah, and so number 5 and number 6 on our list actually go kind of together, and it goes along with, well, you've got the right people, but now you don't have the right systems in place. So you get these people, and it's just kind of like, well, this is what I'm doing, and just go do something. Mm-hmm. And you're not providing training for them.
Yeah.
And it's not, and number 7 goes along with it too. So really 5, 6, and 7 to me are almost like one, because they're basically saying you're not providing adequate training for people, and then you're not providing continuing training even for the people who you already have. That you only focus on training brand new people, and then everyone else should be already trained. You don't have to train them again.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I have to agree with that, and I think that's something we probably all fall into, maybe a trap that we all fall into. Because I mean, when's the last time you said you told Eric or one of your old senior management guys, hey, we got to go to training? I mean,
well, fortunately with our business, you have to get 15 hours a year.
That's true.
You know,
so it just
otherwise,
it happens automatically
exactly,
for you guys.
like realtors too.
Yeah.
Mortgage loan officers as well. So we have to get that training. So fortunately, our position is so regulated that a lot of that happens. But now, the routine stuff, like what do you do when the phone rings?
Yeah.
You smile and you talk to the other person. That doesn't go trained.
Yeah.
I mean, customer service is something that people take for granted, which we're all guilty of. You know, sometimes customer service is paramount.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But are you saying that you hire the right person from the beginning, or that you can teach them customer service?
Customer service is either you have it or you don't.
I agree.
You know, within 2 weeks, you should know if that person's going to be part of your team player and get rid of them.
If you bring in a big old grumperson like the one I talked to the other day,
Alan is really mad at this lady.
she really did tick me off. I'm gonna try to buy that house, but man, I don't even want to listen to this lady.
That's
anyway,
hilarious.
yeah. All right, so let's move on. We had a friend talk about a very interesting scenario on Facebook lately.
Yeah, so Melissa Berry, who's the wife of Tom Berry, and they own the Wealth Club, she put a post online, and it was really interesting to me.
Yeah.
So essentially, and if I get this wrong, Melissa, I apologize, but this is just
Hi, by the way. Thanks for giving us stuff to talk about on our show.
So essentially, they own several apartment complexes, and there's trolls in every industry, right?
Yep. Yep.
So
speaking of trolls,
so there's discrimination trolls now,
Yeah.
who go and they just apply at every single apartment complex that they can and try to find ways that the apartment complex is discriminating against them, so that then they can file a lawsuit and go try to collect for their discrimination, right?
Yep.
So basically what happened with her is that she had one of these people call her and say, hey, I want to rent an apartment, but I'm disabled and I have a service dog. And they said, that's fine, it's not a problem. You can have your service dog, no big deal. So get a copy of the lease agreement, and when they get the lease agreement, it's got on there a security deposit. Well, apparently, and we just found this out, you're not allowed to do that. You can't charge a security deposit to someone who has a service dog, which in my opinion is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
Pet
because
deposit,
a
right?
pet is a
Yeah.
pet,
Yeah.
in my opinion. I get it. It's a service dog. He's helping someone who's disabled live a better life. But I mean, a dog still sheds. A dog still, will tear stuff up and maybe poop on the carpet once or twice. That's just.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're a dog owner, and your dog is well trained, and he still does stuff that,
Yeah,
dogs
I mean,
do.
it's just when you have a dog, it's going to cause more damage to the property, period. And so she gets a letter back from, I believe it was the Texas Workforce Commission, who says, hey, you discriminated against a disabled person, and your fine is going to be, she's got to go to like a sensitivity training class and anti-discrimination classes.
Wow.
So that she stops discriminating, which she never did to begin with.
That reminds me of that Family Guy episode where Peter has to go to a feminine class, feminine discrimination or something like that. And
That's right.
He comes back and he's all super feminine.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he's real sensitive.
Yeah, cries about everything.
Dogs have rights too.
So what's crazy about that is we think, well, a pet is a pet, but then Ashley, you pulled up the law,
Right.
and what does that say?
Basically, it says that you can't charge a deposit for a pet.
Yeah.
So
Not if it's a service
not if
animal.
it's a service dog.
No, service animals have to be there has to be some sort of
Oh, yeah,
certification. for them.
they're registered.
Yeah.
You have to register
Yeah.
your service dog.
Yeah, but now if you have a service dog that's a dangerous breed, for instance, Rottweiler, then you could basically, if it damages your place as far as the image,
Yeah.
then you could stop it, or then you might be able to charge something like that. But basically, you shouldn't charge at all.
Yeah.
Certain parameters, like for instance, if the dog is barking, the dog's excessive barker, then once they move in, then you can kind of kick them out. But you can't really charge security deposit, which to me is just asinine.
It's crazy because we find little loopholes in the law like this, and I don't want to say loopholes, gray areas in the law.
Gray areas.
And gray areas. Every time we find a gray area, we find a troll, and then, in my opinion, and no offense to the attorneys out there, including you, Ashley, it's usually an attorney out there that already found that gray area and is saying, I'm going to make a ton of money on this, and all I need is some you know, guy in a wheelchair to walk in and give me the case, and we're gonna split it 50-50.
Right.
You know, and it stinks, man. We just had on a personal level, we just had a very similar situation. You know, you guys know that my wife's family owns a small chain of restaurants in Florida. Same scenario. So they get a demand letter from someone who says that they walked into the restaurant and in a wheelchair and got banged up in the restroom, and they showed pictures of like bruises and pictures of the bathroom not being ADA compliant, and so they checked the cameras. No one had ever walked into the restaurant with a wheelchair, but you know what they had to do? They had to pay.
They had to settle.
They had to settle, you know, and I'm thinking, man, that stinks because you know, these are good people. They're not rich by any means. They're still going through their entrepreneurship struggle. But there's some schmuck attorney out there who's saying, hey, all you have to do is go in there and take some pictures and bruise yourself up a little bit, and boom, now you have a case. You know? So it's crazy, man, how that works. And I feel horrible that this is happening to our friends.
Oh, absolutely, man. It's a really horrible situation. And that's kind of why I wanted to bring it up, because I wanted to bring up other scenarios that I've either seen in the past and find out what's the legality on them. I mean, am I facing a repercussion on discrimination? So, for example, Ashley, one scenario that I had, it was 3 gentlemen who I was representing on a lease agreement.
Okay.
They were all between the age of 18 and 21. They were all in college. Every place that we submitted an application on denied us under the grounds that they didn't want 3 college-age men living in one house because they were going to destroy the house. Is that discrimination?
Well, if they're white Christian kids, no. You can say anything to do anything to white Christian kids, you know. And say, you know, so it's if they were somebody else, then the answer could be yes. Okay. I mean, so it's unfortunate that it's fallen that far off to the kilt to where it's a. But I mean, let's face it. I mean, it's just, you know, you can discriminate based on anything as long as it's not. Oops, sorry. As long as it's not, as long as it's not religion, race, creed, sexual orientation. Religion. Said religion.
Sorry. So age isn't something that we can use as a way to discriminate.
Well,
or is it?
If you're old age, you can't discriminate. Yeah. But if you're young. No problem discriminating against young.
I look at it on the other end, and you know, I'm getting ready to list my little U of H house.
Yeah.
Do I want 3 party kids in my house wrecking it? Because as a landlord, I may say the same thing. I may say no. You know,
well, and that's why why I'm asking, because you never know when you're going to get the wrong person.
Yeah.
And obviously, these guys, we didn't go back and sue anyone and say they discriminated, but. Was there a claim there? Was there something that they could say, hey, we were discriminated against our age for being young, and we were discriminated for being 3 males, our sex for being males, all living in one household?
You know, the question is can it be an actual suit? You know, I've had an EOC claim filed against me for discriminating against somebody's maleness. MALENESS. Now, ultimately, I won the case. I won the claim.
Maleness. I can't.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
You know, he submitted on a 1 sheet of paper, handwritten, just saying, hey, discriminate against me. And, you know, it took me about 900 pages worth of evidence to sit there and show, because I had to show what I paid. I had to show my pay schedule. I had to show, you know, any training manuals and all this other stuff. And then, you know, amongst another thing he discriminated against is he said he was an alcoholic. And so when somebody says they're an alcoholic, guess what? You can't fire them.
Yeah, that's
because it's medical, right? That's considered medical.
That's considered medical.
Yeah.
You are a drug user, an alcoholic. You can't fire them because they're an alcohol or drug user. You have to find some other way to fire them.
So if somebody's an alcoholic and they're coming to work drunk, you can't fire them.
No.
What are your options?
You got to send them. You got to send them to training. You got to go through the roof, and then go through the several different things. You know, you have to send them to rehab. At your expense.
At your expense. At the business owner's expense.
Right.
Wow.
I mean, because it's considered disability, which is just a now, obviously, I mean, this guy I fired was just a crappy employee.
Yeah.
And so, you know, he, filed suit saying he was, alcoholic. But as soon as he started talking about his drugs, his alcohol, he starts crying like a baby, all this other stuff. I knew exactly where he's going. So you just find some excuse that's not doing with that. The fact is that he's tardy. He can't come to work. He's ticking off everybody. You just have to do a timeline.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you keep everything in writing. I know that's really important.
Scary. Imagine if you don't have that, all those other little details to get rid of someone like that. Imagine how poisonous someone like that can be to your team.
Oh man, I can't even imagine that they can bring down your entire organization.
Just one bad apple can literally do that. So that's scary. And then that again goes back to what we were talking about, making sure that when you're bringing people in from the beginning, you're doing your homework correctly.
Yeah.
And again, even when you do, sometimes you mess up. Sometimes you make those errors. Sometimes you bring in someone who you thought was going to be great, and then they turn out to say, "Hey, you discriminate against my maleness." Which I don't even know what that means.
I don't either.
So I have another scenario for housing wise, and I read about this one online. Apparently, this one's pretty popular. Disabled people that are in a wheelchair will sometimes go to a home that they're going to rent, and they request as part of their lease that the homeowner install a ramp at the homeowner's expense to make the home accessible by a wheelchair. As the homeowner, do you have to do that, or can you deny them? But will that be considered discrimination?
Well, here's what happens: you're in a catch-22.
Yeah.
Now, if you have a historical home that won't allow for ramps, then you're okay. But absent that, if you're putting your house out for rent, it's got to be ADA compliant. I mean, especially if it's Section 8 or something like that. I mean, it's really got to be ADA compliant to where it's remember, it only takes one person to stop prayer in schools.
Yeah.
That's true.
And so ultimately what happens is the law swings. We talked about this before. This law swings to one side left, and then to protect those who can't protect themselves,
it goes all the way to the left before it can come back. Yeah.
Now, the small renter, the landlord, he's got to spend $20,000, $30,000 to get this house ADA compliant. And guess what? Where's his relief?
Yeah.
He doesn't have any. Now, if that handicapped person doesn't decide to rent, guess what? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's considered upgrades in the government's eyes.
Wow, man, that's really interesting.
Yeah,
That's good to know.
These are all things that come up, especially when you're in the real estate industry, and they come up not often, but when they hit you, they hit you like a brick. And you got to know about some of this kind of stuff to make sure that you're staying ahead of the curve and don't get, a crazy demand letter and all of a sudden you owe somebody money just because you didn't know better.
Yeah.
Right.
So, all right, we got some interesting events coming up that we want to share with you guys. We'll be right back.
Hey realtors, I have a challenge for you. Walk into your broker's office and ask him to show you how to do a net listing, a wholesale investment transaction, or a subject to. I'm Alan Hernandez, broker of White Picket Realty, and my team and I have been doing these type of transactions for years. We can show you how to do the same and turn small deals into big checks. If you're interested in learning more, please contact join at teamwpr.com. JOIN at teamwpr.com.
Hey Houston investors, do you have a couple deals under your belt, but now you're looking to scale in a more structured way? If so, then the House Flipping Network provides guidance to those looking to grow their real estate business. It's also a great way to mastermind with our experts and groups of like-minded investors just like yourself. If you're interested in more information, reach out to me, David at houseflippingnetwork.com. That's David at houseflippingnetwork.com.
The Realty Ruckus is going to be broadcasting live August 9th at White Picket Realty's Happy Hour. This is an event for you guys to RSVP for and really get ready to ramp up your business. David, can you tell us a little bit more about it?
That's right, Alan. Come grab a cold one and beat the heat with Team WPR. We'll have over 200 plus real estate industry professionals attending. That's private money lenders, wholesalers, realtors, you name it. We'll be at the St. Arnold Brewery on August 9th from 6 to 9 p.m. You can RSVP at whitepickethappyhour.eventbrite.com. Again, that RSVP link is whitepickethappyhour.eventbrite.com. Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston and surrounding areas, and they offer great service at an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
And we are back on the Realty Ruckus. We're coming into our last few minutes here with everybody. The days always go by too quick, but
Yeah.
we did have a question on the legal side. We want to make sure that we get that answered. So, David, what was that question that we got?
Who was listening out there that asked the question?
It was Eddie Borrego, and he asked,
What's up, Eddie?
I'm guessing, I'm not sure what he's referring to, but he asked, can you counter sue?
I'm guessing on the discrimination, I guess if you get sued for discriminating, do you have a countersuit?
Well, the whole thing about discrimination is just filing a government complaint.
Yeah.
And so how are you going to countersue the government? I mean, you can't countersue the disabled person because, quite frankly, he's disabled.
Yeah.
And the law is there to protect him. Now, if the person is fake, and he's lying, everything like that, yeah, sure, you can countersue. But most disabled people who are going to, the trolls, so to speak, they don't have any money anyway.
Yeah.
So if you
That's
get a
true.
judgment against them, I mean,
What's it worth?
right?
Good luck.
I mean, so I always tell people sometimes a bad settlement is better than a good lawsuit.
Yep.
Bad settlement, you know what you have. A bird in the hand is better than two in the bush. And so, essentially you could countersue, but why would you want to? I mean, you're going to pay enough legal fees just protecting it. Like, for instance, the EOC complaint I had. I mean, had I not been an attorney, it would have been expensive because
What would a suit like that have cost if you hadn't been able to fight
To
it
write
yourself?
900 pages, 30 grand.
30, 40, 50 grand.
Yeah,
Oh,
At least.
man.
At
That's
least.
crazy.
for sure. Just to protect yourself.
Just protect yourself.
Anyways, have you guys heard of the new superfood?
Oh, man.
Not to change the topic, but we are coming to the end, and I wanted to share something that totally grossed me out. If you guys have a weak stomach or haven't eaten breakfast, you can just turn it off now because this is going to totally gross you out, and this is why I probably will never go to China. This came up on CNN saying that the new superfood is a milk protein that comes from, guess what?
Cockroaches.
Cockroaches, out of all things.
Yeah.
And it's so horribly disgusting. And there's this video on CNN showing this guy. When you guys get a chance, check it out. There's a video of this guy that has a room full of what is it, millions maybe,
It's got to be.
cockroaches.
Yeah. It's pretty disgusting.
And he bags them up in these huge 100-pound bags and sells them. And there's people over there that literally just throw them in a little frying pan and toss one down the hatch. And
So you don't actually have to milk them?
So,
I mean,
how do you milk a cockroach?
I don't know. That's what I'd like to see. I mean, they're maybe it's like a cow. You put little machines to them.
Reminds me of
on their little udders.
reminds me of that movie Meet the Fockers.
Yeah.
where he tries to milk the cat.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's just disgusting. I don't know who comes up with that. How did they
No clue,
find
man.
that
But
out?
this guy's making money in China off of selling cockroaches, which shows you can make money off of anything. Like,
Oh
seriously.
my goodness.
And then we saw another report, the license plate that got.
Oh yeah,
accepted.
so Houston proud.
Nice.
Houston proud.
I love it when I see this.
Only in Houston would this happen. So those custom license plates.
Yeah.
And they've got all sorts of different ones. I've submitted a few, and you can get rejected really easily for like the most simple, small thing. You can get rejected.
Yeah.
So somebody went and they submitted a custom license plate, and they put data, DATA 5S.
Yeah.
And I guess whoever was the one working that was like, oh, data 5S. This must be some nerd out there.
Sounds like a nerd.
Who really loves his Samsung Galaxy 5S. I don't know. But if you haven't figured it out yet, just write it out in all caps for a second and take a look at what that says.
You wrote
add
it
it in the
down.
comments.
Can we show our viewers what it
Yeah,
looks
so
like?
for the viewers who can't see it, this is what the license plate says.
You see?
And so once you see it, look at that. That
It
ass.
says "Dad ass."
Nice.
That was genius.
Yes.
I've been like breaking my head on how I can come up with something great for my car, and
Yeah.
every time I go on there and like throw stuff on, I never get something that cool. So once that guy totally beat us to that one, but now we got to think of something else.
Oh man, I just can't seem to be creative enough to come up
Yeah.
with something like that.
So that guy's genius.
So like Bart Simpson, IP freely,
That's right.
So-
I remember that one. Do we have any cool events coming up that we can talk about?
So over the weekend, going over the non-real estate events, We do have the Bud Light Party Rally going on at the.
Oh, what is that? That sounds fun.
Yeah, I think the tickets are like $10, and it's a concert. Bud Light's putting on Shinedown with Hellstorm, Blackstone Cherry, and Whiskey Myers, and it's pretty cheap. And I know Rod Ryan is going to be out there. That's my favorite radio show in the morning. So that's going to be awesome.
All right, cool.
And for you,
you mean besides Realty Ruckus?
of course. Yeah. And Blink 182 is going to be at the Mitchell Pavilion. They have a new lead singer, so that's going to be pretty cool. And
I didn't like them before, so I probably won't like them now. I'll pass on that one.
Another cool thing I saw was City with No Limits movie night. NASA's hosting a Under the Stars movie night, and I guess they're going to have the astronauts and stuff out there, and they're going to be
That's pretty cool.
screening
cool.
Interstellar. Yeah. And coming up, we have the White Picket Happy Hour. That's August 9th.
We've been getting a lot of RSVPs for that. I literally saw like 20 or 30 of them this morning. Make sure that you guys get on Eventbrite. That's where you can find the link.
Yeah, exactly. It's whitepickethappyhour.eventbrite.com. whitepickethappyhour.eventbrite.com.
Perfect. Guys, go out there, sign up for this event. This is one of my favorite events in town, and I think the reason why I like it so much is because there is no hidden agenda behind it. We're not there to sell you on anything. You come out, you have a good time, we buy you a drink, or actually endless drinks because it's endless beer.
It's a brewery.
Yeah, it's a brewery, so you just go get a brew whenever you're ready, and we get you some food and get you in front of some really, really great vendors like Ashley Patton over here who can close all your transactions, and everyone else that's out there is there to actually help you with your business. So
yeah, and I like to make sure people know how they can contact Ashley or at least a patent law firm, so that if they have closings or they want to speak with someone and learn about your services, how can they get in contact with you?
Our telephone number is 713-621-5808. Again, 713-621-5808. Or our email is Galleria, Galleria, at plfpc.com. That's short for Patent Law Firm Professional Corporation.com.
Awesome.
Perfect.
I want to give a quick little thank you shout out to a buddy of mine from Allstate, and man, I called this guy up literally a day before our event yesterday and said, hey Kevin, this guy's name is Kevin Trin, and I said, hey Kevin, I need you to come out to this event and bring your photo booth. And the guy, he's like, man, I got a bunch of stuff going on. He's like, I don't know if I can make it, but I'll check. The day of, the guy shows up, brings the photo booth, brings his assistant, sets up the whole thing, lines up everything, props, drops our logo into it, and I mean, the guy is phenomenal. I just want to give him a big thank you and let you guys.
How can people get in touch with him if they want to hire somebody to do a photo booth?
You know what? The thing about him is it's not just the photo booth. You can rent the photo booth from him.
Yeah.
And have him come out to your events. But more importantly, he's a franchise owner. So if you need insurance, this is a guy that I can say, dude, I mean, he's got our back on everything. So make sure that you guys reach out to him, and we'll post his contact information below as well, just so you guys can say hi to him. So without further ado, I mean, we're right there. We are at the weekend. Guys, go out, have some fun. I know that we all work hard. Everyone here works hard,
Be safe.
But don't be afraid to play hard too while you're at it this weekend. We had a tough week this week. We had a lot going on. We have a great week coming up next week. Don't forget to log on next Tuesday at 10 a.m.
Yeah, and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way you can get automatic reminders. So even if you missed the Ruckus on Facebook and you didn't watch it live on YouTube, it'll actually send out an email about 3 hours after the show with the link so that you can watch the replays.
Yeah, and we love Facebook, but YouTube is really the best place to watch the show because we can load images and other stuff to that feed, whereas we can't do that on Facebook. So make sure you guys definitely log on there. Make sure you subscribe and tell all your friends about the show. We are doing really great with it. I've gotten recognition everywhere from it. I can't believe actually people listen to this stuff. So, but it's been phenomenal, and we thank you guys for it. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Take care, guys.
There you go.
This has been the Realty Ruckus. Make sure and join us every Tuesday and Friday for new episodes. Find us on YouTube and Facebook for replays of previous episodes. And as always, keep elevating yourself and keep up your ruckus. Thanks for listening. Realty Ruckus has been brought to you by Smart Pig Media Productions.